All right, guys. Obviously, we'll get rolling. I think I said last night on the show, great challenge for our football team. I think, again, this week, can we continue to grow? And we're going to have to. I think a really talented football team that we're about to face, a team that's got elite skill at almost every position on the football field and really playing good football right now. So with that said, we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, Matt, where do you look to in that respect? Where do you look to on your team from coming off the most physically pounding game you've played this year, best game, to the, I don't want to say a grueling road trip because you're chartering an airplane, but nonetheless, a long road trip.
Yeah.
Who do you look to for guidance on that?
Yeah, I think you look to the same people that have gotten you to this point, and that's the leadership of our football team. And, I think they're the ones that we're fortunate to have veteran leadership that have been through these experiences before, understand the grind of the season and the ability to know that your growth and your success is going to come with your ability to grow, even though, this is the time of year where, a lot of people, it's hard for them to continue to get better because mentally they're worn out, physically they're worn out. All those things can be great excuses, but at the end of the day, nobody really cares. What they do care about is, can you continue to navigate and grow through it? And the only way you're going to do it is if the leadership of the football team buys into that. And I think certainly it starts with us as coaches, and it trickles down to our seniors and the veteran leadership in our program. And so I think really a week like this is on their shoulders. How do you act? How do you respond? And how do you continue to grow and get better? And if our great players do that, and our veteran players do that, then I think our football team will certainly follow their lead.
Any update on Mike?
No, I think, it seemed really good yesterday. I think we feel very confident that he'll play in the football game. And, I don't think it's a issue that's going to be very long or very, I think it's one of those things that it's probably more day-to-day than it is anything else.
What is he dealing with?
Yeah, just dealing with just a couple things, almost more so structurally than he is anything in terms of a break or a sprain or anything like that. I think just kind of some nerve stuff that he's dealing with, but really responded fantastic, was awesome on Sunday, and was tremendous yesterday.
I think it was after Saturday you talked about the defense being able to gang tackle really well. That seems like a fundamental thing, but how important is it that you've got 11 guys flying to the ball?
Yeah, I think it's the key to our success. I think a lot of people over the last couple of years have talked about maybe some of the things we've tried to do schematically, and really I don't think that's what we've done the best. What we've done the best is, the standard of our defense is 11 guys running the football on every play, and if we're willing to do that with great consistency, then great things have the ability to happen. And even at the end of that game this past weekend, the ability to run to the football, Hashim running to the ball to help Kamani, and then everybody else coming, really was a huge impact in the football game and maybe a difference at the end result. So I think those have been a blueprint for us from day one, and our kids have rallied around that.
The one-on-one tackling, I think, has been really good for the most part this season. Is that a validation for you guys of how you did things in the spring and summer, where you don't need to beat the hell out of each other to be good tacklers?
Yeah, I would hope that, in some way, shape, or form that happens. Now, again, different team. There's a lot of veteranness on this football team that has played in those moments in those games. So maybe this group, we didn't need to have some of that experience because there was a lot of that built-in experience to be able to be a good tackling football team. But I would say this too: our young guys have tackled really well. The guys that have come in, Kamani King, Craig McDonald, those young guys, Eric Horn, those guys have played good football and tackled really well for us as well. So I think we'll evaluate that at the end of the football season. But I do think that's an area for us that we've improved on and feel very confident about right now.
We've talked a lot about A players playing A football this season, but who are some players who maybe aren't necessarily you didn't think would be A players but have played A football this year?
Yeah, I think you talk about some of those glue guys in our program right now and team. I think Jared Hufford on the offensive line has continued to show up and play, tremendous football for us. Jared Russ is a guy that, has been a key to our success on our football team this season for us. Darren Wilson's a guy that, his day's coming, I feel like. He's played tremendous for us. What happens from a receiver standpoint, you don't maybe get some of the production, but boy, what he's done from a blocking and assignment and detail standpoint has been exceptional, and he's played really good football. And I think you flip over on the other side of the ball, and on the defensive side, Kamani, we've talked a lot about, I think has played tremendous for us. Zach Peterson has been, nothing short of exceptional. And then, I think the special teams portion of things, Andrew Mevis is proving to be an A football player. I think that was a really tough journey for us, really not knowing that he was a tremendous talent. But, I talked again, guy that got dinged up at the end of spring, guy that was really kind of restricted through all of fall camp, and really didn't get to see who he was or what he had the ability to do really till the first part of the season, but has proven to be an A player for us and kind of glue guy for us, certainly on special teams with all he's doing for us right now. And then I would say some of those young freshmen, Joey Peterson, Bo Freiler, Miles Purchase, those guys in our special teams units have really been some of our best players, so far this year for us. So really proud of those guys as well.
Matt, after the game on Saturday, both you and Brock used the word trust and belief a lot with Xavier. I'm curious, in your time here, how much is trust, maybe the most important quality in a number one receiver, maybe outside, highlight catches and coming up big?
Yeah, I would say trust is the number one quality of our program, period. I don't care what it is or who you are or what it's about. I think that's what's allowed us to just even have an inkling of success here, is the ability to have trust throughout our program. And I think when that value system carries over to plays on the field, there's only so many, and there's only one football. And I think you want to try to, as whether it's the coach or the quarterback, you want to deliver the ball to the people that you feel absolutely confident that are going to have the ability to make the play when the ball comes their way. And obviously Xavier, from day one that he's come into our program, from a trust standpoint of who he is, his work ethic. I think Randy and I talked maybe 2 months after Xavier was here, and I was raving about the work ethic, the character when Xavier got here to where we are today. And now you're seeing this player who I really think if you go back and watch every game he's played here, maybe other than that Louisiana game where he was kind of getting his footing underneath him, he's been nothing short of exceptional for us. And so, yeah, I think that value system is huge. And how is trust earned? I think it's earned daily. And, unfortunately, that's a word, too, that can be taken away really fast as well. But, X has been tremendous at just continuing to stack and build tremendous trust in our program.
Talking about West Virginia, they've had a couple games that could go either way. Against like Oklahoma, Maryland, teams like that. What have you seen from West Virginia that's allowed them to be so competitive in those games?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this West Virginia team is one of the most talented teams that we've played. I think they're a team that's as up and coming as anybody in our conference. There's a lot of youth on this roster right now, but boy, oh boy, is there a lot of talent. Some of the best skill players in our conference across the board at the receiver position, some physicality at the tight end position, elite tailback, 2 quarterbacks that are playing really good football for them, a young but extremely talented offensive line, and then, man, you flip over on the defensive side and, you talk about the experience of their secondary, the guys that have played a lot of football for them, the linebacking core, and then, man, this young talented defensive line. Maybe as talented as any young team in our conference and really playing good football. You can tell they're confident and they'll be ready to rock and roll for sure.
We asked Brees about Jared Hufford, who I guess he was a freshman roommate of, and he called him, quote, a different cat, unquote. And then I asked Schweiger about it, and he said, I guess we're all kind of different cats. What makes him different from an enthusiasm standpoint and also from a technical and skill standpoint that he's given you?
Yeah, first of all, the great quality Jared has is he's from Ohio, so that's a huge positive. So we know that was a surefire win, and maybe that makes him a little bit different in his own right. But Jared's got this unbelievable personality. He's got a great father and stepmother at home that I think have given Jared a lot of belief. He's from a great high school football program, one of the great high school traditions in the state of Ohio, and I think learning from great coaches there, work ethic and toughness, those are things that were non-negotiable. And, I think Jared's got this very happy-go-lucky personality, but boy, is it really important to play football? Yes. Does he want to be the best? Yes. And, I think those qualities have served him well because easily I think he could have been discouraged, along the way. He was very talented early on, still there was a lot of growth for him in terms of his high school football program is a little bit on the smaller school size in the state of Ohio. And so, elite running the ball, some of the pass game stuff was a little bit foreign early on. And that's kind of been part of his transition process from high school to college. And so I think his ability to stay the course, really learn those skills in that craft, and really start to kind of press forward. And we really saw that a year ago. I mean, he's got really good length in his arms. He's as physical as any of our offensive linemen are. And I think one of the things that Jared possessed is that staying power that allowed him that, even though he wasn't maybe getting those reps early last season, when we needed Jared Hufford the most, and that's in the Fiesta Bowl, and you're talking about elite defensive line, and he's got to step in and go play. And then you watch how he played in that game. I think that was kind of a huge chip for him in terms of our staff saying, man, I think this guy's really ready to take a huge step forward. And then, again, not being satisfied, going back to work this offseason. I think one of the great gainers in terms of what happened between January and really August. And then the same thing, the season starts, we're still trying to find mix and match. And I think his staying power again of, man, probably could have been frustrated, maybe felt like should he have been the starter right away? What did he do? But he earned it. And he went to work, and he earned the right to be the starter. And, really the last two games has played tremendous for us. So, really proud of him. I think probably the biggest difference is, man, here's a guy that's got great values at home, that's got great staying power. In a world we all want instant gratification, has been willing to stay the course and fight for what he really wanted to do, and he's earned everything he's gotten so far.
And Orion, as his snap count has gone up, we go from asking when will he be able to play, and now he's playing as a senior. Can you talk about his journey and just how he's showing up for you right now?
Jeez, yeah. I talked about Orion in our team meeting yesterday. Orion's got to play, must be the second to last drive of the game, and we bring pressure. They actually run the perfect call offensively against it, and his drop is a lead off of number 2, and he's got the ability where the quarterback wants to go where he should go, but he can't make it because Orion's exactly where he needs to be when he needs to be there. And I think that's what you talk about, senior veteran leadership, a guy doing the little thing that nobody else sees, but man, that might have been the difference in the football game very well. And, the next two plays, Will has sack, and man, they're able to punt the ball, and, we kind of know how it goes from there. But it's that play, in my opinion, the perfect call offensively against maybe what could have been the worst call defensively, and yet Orion Vance makes the play in the moment. And, I think that's what's so special about Orion, and I think he would be a guy that would tell you his story here. I mean, a guy that has been, started off academically, maybe not the most important thing, and leaving here, graduating with over a 3.75 GPA. A guy that his last, 5 semesters here was above a 3.5 GPA. A guy that has really, you saw reach your full potential in every way, shape, and form. On the field, in the classroom, who he is in the community, he's reached his full potential. And so for us, I think everybody here very, very proud of him. Everybody here really excited that he is healthy, because he's a key piece of our success for sure.
Will is half a sack away from breaking Shaquan's career sack record. I'm interested, just when you guys were recruiting him, did you see him having this ability? I mean, Coach Gundy last week said he's the type of player that has the ability to control a game on the edge.
Yeah, I think for Will, my favorite piece of it, I'll never forget meeting Will for the first time. We're over at Hilton at a basketball game, and sitting in one of the offices, and he had come down with his high school football coach to really this first visit. And his basketball film was probably what intrigued me more than anything initially. I saw this unbelievably talented basketball player, and probably a guy that in a lot of ways looked like probably a low-level Division I basketball player at the time, a guy that just great explosion, great scorer, great leaping ability. And then you turn on the football video, and it's like, man, this guy's not afraid, can really run, and you didn't know, maybe he's a great tight end, maybe he's a great outside linebacker, just didn't know exactly where he was going to fit. But I think we knew he was dynamic playmaker of some sort, and just so happened it's going to be a defensive end. But to say, did you know what he was going to become? No. Did you know what his spirit was? Did you know what he was about? Did you know he had elite athleticism? Yeah, I think we had a really good idea about that. But boy, Will's done an incredible job for us.
Craig probably played as much as he has in his career on Saturday. What's allowed him to work into that rotation?
Yeah, I think for Craig, taking advantage of his opportunity a little bit, when Kamani kind of has been dinged up a little bit the last couple weeks, and the Kansas State game, just really wasn't able to kind of function with a little bit of that club on his hand. We moved Greg to the field and brought Craig in, and his ability to go make plays was, I think, a huge confidence booster, not only for himself, but I think for us as a staff. I think everybody just really excited for Craig. Craig's one of those guys in our program, again, that's worked really, really hard to get and earn an opportunity to perform on the field. And I think what he did with his opportunity at Kansas State has given him more. And, I think, again, same thought process a little bit last Saturday. Kamani's still not 100% and felt really confident with Craig going in. And I think we were rewarded for it because Craig played outstanding again this past week.
Sorry,
Go ahead, Jerry.
How big is it to have those young guys who have some of that versatility to step in and do that? I mean, obviously that's a veteran group, but you still had a handful of those guys that come in and make big plays.
Yeah, and I think that'll be our story the rest of the way. This college football season's so different than last year. Depth, man, guys that are going to be ready when their name gets called. I think that'll be the difference. We know our sport is a sport that's going to challenge the depth of your roster. I just don't think you're going to be lucky enough to go through an entire season and not have bumps and bruises and guys dinged up. And so, for us, that recruiting piece of it, that development piece of it, and then guys mentally, man, did you stay the course? I think it's really hard this time of year to stay the course. If you haven't played a whole lot in 7 or 8 games, like, man, are you still coming to work every day to be the best version of yourself? Those teams and those individuals, man, that get that opportunity, and some of those guys, there's going to be probably a player or 2 or 3 that are going to get that maybe haven't played yet or a ton yet because of injury are going to be forced to play. And for our team and for them, that's going to show a little bit of who we are and who they are, and the guys that take advantage of their moments usually get rewarded with more moments and more opportunity so far. So, I think that's Craig's standpoint. I think it's been big for us.
Chase told me a while back, I don't know, sometime this summer maybe, I don't remember when, that West Virginia is the toughest place for him to play. He's been around to play. Why?
Well,
I mean, it doesn't seem that daunting.
Yeah, maybe not to you. I think to the rest of us, I think, and I probably can relate enough to it growing up in that area, that I think just the fan base there, I think the passion that the people and the fans of West Virginia have for their Mountaineers, being the only show in the state, the only show in town, it's a hard place to play. And I think their passion, their love, and their, fanatical about their team makes it a great challenge. It's going to be a packed house. It's really important to everybody in that state and their families. And I think it does make it a really special place to go play college football. And I think it also can be a challenging place to play college football.
How far was that from where you live?
Yeah, probably about 2 hours.
Did you go at all?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit as a young kid for sure.
Last week, or Saturday, Will talked about Jaquan really teaching him everything he knows.
That's scary. That's scary. I'm going to have to investigate that quote.
At what point does your culture become self-sustaining? We've seen your speeches, but when they see it in action, is that when you can trust that it's self-sustaining in that aspect?
Yeah, I hope so. I think that's something that we challenge our older guys in our program is, man, can you leave this program in a better place than you found it? And I think when you take that approach as a leader or a senior in our program and the ability to give more of yourself than you take from the whole, then I think that's when you have a chance to be hugely impactful and you can continue the success of your program. And, I think if we can continue to understand that and value that, then I think those are things, to me, that's what creates long-term sustainability. And we've been fortunate to have, especially the last couple of years, some great senior classes that have really put it on their shoulders to make sure they did everything in their power to leave it better than they found it. And I think, even this year, I think one of probably the greatest prides that I take is watching our seniors work through really hard. and really work together to make it better than they found it, and not make it about them. And that's been really fun to watch so far.
And then with Xavier, we've seen what he can do on the field, but talking to him about family life away from it, how much did you know about, his background and how much he was shaped as an individual off the field?
Yeah, I think quite a bit. I think to me, Xavier, one of the things, as you can tell talking to him, is he's got this incredible spirit, and he's also not afraid of where he's come from. And I think one of the best appreciations maybe that I have for Xavier and his family is he's got a mother that's been a rock in his life. She embodies that same spirit. She kind of has that same smile and that same energy and that same passion for life that Xavier's had, and it's not been easy for her either. And yet I think her and Xavier have been able to weather the storm. He's got a great father, but I just think the spirit of those two to be able to work through hard times growing up and in their own lives, and the ability to overcome it, I think it's kind of led to this man that he's become now. And what he does on the field is really awesome. What he's done in our wide receiver room, what he's done in the wide receiver room is always tricky, because there's probably half of the guys that think they should be catching the ball or need the ball or want the ball, and there's only one football. And then he's the guy that's getting the ball, but yet to be the guy that's leading those around him and kind of, just making sure that everybody's staying the course. He's maybe done as good a leadership job of any of our seniors this year for us as well. So, he's a great player, greater person, and greater heart. What he's about and certainly what he's done is just nothing short of exceptional. So we're really proud of him. But yeah, I knew a lot about the Xavier story.
Matt, I was gone last weekend, so if you were asked this on Saturday, feel free to brush past it. But I saw the video after the game of you escorting Spencer Sanders off the field.
Yeah.
It made me think about the Texas game last year when you went out to the kicker. I can't remember his name, but what do you think that's like for an opposing player after a game, a crushing loss, for the first person they see not to be one of their teammates or their own coaches, but the opposing head coach?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the situation on Saturday was just unique in its own right. I think, even for myself, you're overwhelmed. There's a stadium. You haven't been where people are. There's people coming on the field. I think the biggest thing was, this young man just played an incredible football game, which he did. He was exceptional on Saturday. And, I certainly wanted to congratulate him on an incredible performance, and he's been such a great competitor against us for the last couple of years. And, I felt for him because I see all these people coming, and I think instantaneously it was like, man, I got to get this young man off the field and make sure he's safe. And so I think that was the biggest thing, and I know that was a challenging environment just with the amount of stuff that was going on. But, we were able to get him out of there, and, a ton of respect for who he is and what he's about.
A lot of the talk lately, Matt, has been about this offense and Brock, and rightfully so, but this defense has continually been so consistent, not letting a team get above 300 yards total. As you continue this 6-game stretch against really good opponents in tough environments, what more are you hoping to see to kind of get to a level where you think is complete and 100%?
Well, I still think for us, it really isn't about offense. It really isn't about defense. It is really about us playing the three phases of our sport in great continuity and playing great complementary football. You even looked at the game on Saturday. Boy, there was times where we really had the ability to seize the momentum and the flow of the game, and we didn't. And, how do we continue to find those inches and pound away at that? And, you may never always be perfect in that role. But man, I think you're always searching to find that. And, the more you can play in continuity and really play off of each other, the better team you're going to have the opportunity to be. And, we know that that's our answer for success. So, I think just constantly trying to find that on both phases, and then in the game making the adjustments to make sure, okay, we're complementing each other.
You talked Saturday about Tariq Milton. Xavier did too. What's it say about a guy who's not seeing a high snap share, who's stuck with it, and maybe what's kept him from seeing that?
Yeah, we talked a lot about that after the game too. Just for Tariq, that guy has had so many battles, from, physical to the mental battle that it can have when you're physically kind of constantly beat up over the last 2 years. And, the talent that Tariq has, the ability that he has, and the growth that he has made in our football program is nothing short of exceptional. And to see in the biggest moment of the season so far, there's Tariq Milton making a huge play in a huge moment. I just think it says so much about the character of Tariq. I think it shows the young guys in the program, here's what staying power looks like. Here's what it looks like, even though you may not be getting exactly what you want or as much as what you want, and yet your number gets called and you were ready for the benefit of the team. And, again, that's our sport. It's team sport. And, I think what a huge team moment and a great example for everybody in our culture and our program to watch this young man stand up and, even though it's been frustrating times, still have the ability to work through it and be ready when his number was called.
Matt, you talked about the elite skill this team has. What stands out about what makes their running game so effective?
Yeah, I think it all starts in really two areas. I think for sure it starts with an elite tailback. I mean, you're talking about a year ago, this guy was neck and neck, him and Brees, for the conference rushing title. And, you're talking about a young man that's got elite vision, big, powerful, strong, and can really run. And then, I think schematically they do a great job. Really good offensive line. They've got good tight ends. They're physical at the point of attack. And, they try to challenge you in every way, shape, and form in the running game. Thank you.